Hey, hi, hello, friends, and I'm back, sans makeup. Hi, guys. Today is a little bit of a different video. We're not focusing solely on Chantal. I know I tend to get a little bit myopic when it comes to these things, but I did want to discuss the two other girls in the girl world that I actually care about, which would be Life by Jen and by AmberLynn's. We'll touch briefly on Chantal as well, but it's going to be kind of like a where I stand on everybody kind of a video. And yeah, we'll get back to our regular reacts probably in my next video. Sorry I was gone for a little bit. But first, before we proceed forward, a word from our sponsor. Our sponsor for today's video is Dossier. Dossier is a perfume company. Now, you guys know Christmas is coming up. We're all doing our Black Friday shopping. We're all getting ready for the gift-giving season. And I think if you've got beauty lovers in your life, especially those who love perfume, Dossier might be the way you want to go. So a little bit at the company. They produce classic high-end luxury scents at a fraction of the price, keeping the exact same high quality by cutting all the expenses and the infamous brand tax out of the equation. They have a risk-free system, and it allows customers to try the perfume before committing to them. And say you try the scent and you misjudged, you don't like it, they have a 30 days, no question asked return policy. They'll give you 100% of your price back. On top of that, I mean, these are incredibly affordable, gorgeous perfumes. As you can see, I got 2 cents here and I absolutely love both of them. Since Black Friday is coming up, they are running specials on their website. Until Black Friday, they have 5 perfumes for $99. That's 30% off their original price, and that's $20 a bottle. If you've got loved ones in your life, men, women, whoever, who enjoys a good scent and they like, dressing a little classy, I think this might be something that they really enjoy, even outside of Black Friday. Say you can't decide. Say you're not sure. Say you want to use up a couple perfumes before then. That's all right. I've got a link down below, and you can get 30% off on your first order using my link below. Helps me out, helps them out, and say if you are one of those few people who did not enjoy the perfume and you want to return it, but you're thinking to yourself, man, that's so much waste I'm producing. Not to worry, my friend, not to worry. They donate all the refunded returned perfume bottles to a charity association, and they don't use plastic anymore either. All of their orders are always risk-free and returnable. They are 100% vegan and 100% cruelty-free with clean ingredients, and they are never tested on animals. Thank you guys so much for hearing me out. And if you guys want to check out these beautiful, gorgeous perfumes, the link is down below. I know. Isn't it so exciting? I have a sponsor. Who would have thunk it? And I just want you guys to know this is not the first or the only sponsorship offer I've gotten. That's not to toot my own horn. People will reach out to you. If you're any size of influencer, you know that if you put your email out there. I just wasn't ready to accept one, and I wanted to work with a company that I actually really liked, and I really like Dossier. I've seen them sponsor other credible YouTubers, and they seem like a good company. I really like what they stand behind and genuinely love the product. So if you guys want to click that link, helps me out, helps the channel out, up to you, and good for Christmas shopping. All right. Today, I'm going to be unmessing myself, not to look like a hot mess, in a very short how to get ready with me style video. And we'll be starting with a moisturizer. I got this as a gift. It's the Moisture Surge by Clinique. I actually really like it, which makes me hate myself a little because it's so expensive. You need to. It is the winter months. My skin is drier than an actual desert, and if I don't get a little bit of moisture in it like right now, I think it might actually try to flee my face. So let's talk about our girls. Let's start with the least, I guess, popular mainstream of the girls. That would be Life by Jen. If you guys aren't aware of what's happening with Life by Jen, she is currently in the hospital with a variety of health issues. Now, Life by Jen is a little bit older than the rest of the girls in the girl world. The other two that I care about, I know there's also Amy's life journey, but I find her channel so incredibly boring. I find her to be very boring. And I think part of that is just that she doesn't do a lot, and it's the same like 2 problems that she has over and over again, which can be fun, but they have to be presented in a slightly different light. So foundation I'm using is the Smooth Indulgence foundation in Wheat by Dermablend. You guys know this. It is one of the highest coverage foundations I've ever used in my entire life, and the tiniest little bit goes like so incredibly far, which is why I like it. But it is dry, so you need to moisturize, which is why the moisturizer, very important. And if you're having a hot mess express day, just having your skin look good can do like a huge amount for you. Something about just having your face look kind of presented helps. Also, if you guys can't tell, I have an enormous amount of dry shampoo in my hair right now. I did not have the time to shower this morning because I had meetings starting at a ridiculous time because I'm working with people who work in non-US markets. And so it puts me at a disadvantage slightly. Anyway, so she has been in the hospital with a variety of health issues. And I know that Life by Jen and Chantal especially have had a pretty rocky relationship recently. But I don't think she's really fans with any of the girls. I think Amber has been trying really hard to curry herself into Chantal's good graces, because as much as Amber does not like us or what we have to say or what we have to do, they do keep her relevant, right? It is that all publicity is good publicity kind of a thing, but it keeps her name in people's mouths. Amber does not make very like exciting content, you know? And so she needs that feedback loop to generate views and clicks for her channel. The concealer that I am using is the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer in Satin Finish. I don't find it particularly hydrating, and I think it's lacking a little bit when it comes to the actual concealing power, but it's pretty cheap. It's got a good shade range, and it does the job. And I think if you had less bad eye circles, like mine are really bad, I think it would probably be good for you. And so I don't think she's particularly close with Life by Jen for that reason. And besides that, she doesn't really seem to have a lot of YouTube friends in any case. So I don't think that they are very close, but I really wish that Amber especially would reach out and start to like talk to Life by Jen. I really want them to connect with other people who are like in a similar health circumstances to them. Because the thing is that not only is Jen like weight-wise, she's a little bit worse, but she's, since being in the hospital, she's lost a tremendous amount of weight. But Jen is significantly older, which means that all of those health consequences that somehow Amber has managed to avoid, Jen is facing them right now, you know? And I think that there's a lot to be gained by talking to someone who is essentially living what your future will be if you are not careful. Fat is not something that kills you directly, right? Fat's not like cancer. You don't just gain a little bit of weight and then all of a sudden you die. That's not how it works. The problem with it is it's the root of 1,000 different illnesses, from diabetes to, yes, cancer. Fat, a large amount of it, an unhealthy amount of it, contributes to a variety of different diseases. And so given where she is in her life, it's not surprising to me that Jen is starting to experience a lot of those negative outcomes, right? Like, I think it's like 25 when we are no longer generating new cells and growing in a biological sense, but are actually actively dying. Like, we are slowly going downhill, right? We cradle, peak of our life, and now we're sliding into the grave kind of a thing, not to sound too morbid about it, but at that point we are slowly declining, and the longer that goes on, the more side effects you feel. One of the funniest and also truest things I think my sister-in-law said to me, she's like, once you get past your like youth phase, right, like, I'm thankful I haven't had to experience that yet, but she's like, once you get past your 35 mark, every day is a good day if you started off with 300 milligrams of ibuprofen. She's a doctor. I'm assuming she knows what she's doing. But she, told me how like stuff will just start hurting. And especially if you are not someone who's taken care of their body, that's when the deterioration starts showing. So she's in the hospital, and because she's an inpatient and they're taking it's taking a little bit of time for her to get better. They've given her physical therapy, a cognitive therapy, and they're giving her a very, very controlled diet, and the combination of which she's lost like 80 pounds. I don't think the weight is very evident on her face. You can't look at someone who is that big and say, okay, yeah, I can really see the weight loss there, because it's hard, right? It's hard to tell. But I think that the more she loses, the more evident it's going to be. That's why it's also hard to tell with like Chantal and with like Amber. If they go up or down 10 pounds, you're not going to be able to tell. That's a very large frame that's amateurized across their entire body. You don't just lose weight right up here or something, right? It's not targeted like that. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna recommend this. Everything in here is, by the way, a recommend from me, give or take. If there isn't, I will tell you, like I said with the Camo concealer. This is Morphe 2. I think the D'Amelio sisters are the face of the marketing brand, which is why I almost didn't pick it up, because I'm like, it's not marketed for me. But my sister got this, and it is marketed to her, and she loved it. She said it's like the Kaja bento boxes, but the color ranges are a little bit different. So I decided to give it a shot. The first one in here, it's like a highlighter / an eyelid color. There is a blush in here. Sorry, I didn't think you guys could see that. There's like this. It's like highlighter / eyeshadow color. Then you've got your blush in here. Your it's like for lips and for cheeks too. I guess you can use this as a cream blush, but it's like a lip gloss. And then you can use this as a cream highlighter. And it is really beautiful. I actually took this with me when I went to vacation in Hawaii, and it was like the only product that I really wore. Very, very lightweight. You can do just like a super basic makeup look with this, and it looks gorgeous. The other thing that I took, because you guys can see, eyebrows patchy AF, is I took this. This is my Anastasia Brow Powder Duo in Brunette. The label actually came off, so I'm looking at the back, nothing, but I know what this is. And so I really like that, and I think that's really all I need. And I'm going to show you how to make that work in a very basic, but like really, really pretty kind of a way. So I'm going to take this color right here, and I'm going to buff that into my crease. Ooh, forgot to set that. Make sure you set your crease. I find that it's a little bit easier to work with eyeshadow if I don't have a very sticky base. And by setting my crease, I'm not going to get any of that oil breakthrough that I would have. If you have very, very oily lids, then you can also use an eyeshadow primer and set it down in the same way. I don't have very oily lids. I actually tend to have drier lids, which is why this is not an issue for me. But my mom, who has oily lids, cannot just employ this method. She needs an eyeshadow primer, otherwise it will crease on her. Being that she's in the hospital, she's doing quite well for that. And of course, there is some amount of effort that she herself has expended towards this, that she herself is working. And there was a brief stint where Gene was bringing her food into the hospital, but it's still not the kind of eating plan that she was on when she was at home, obviously, because he can't sneak that much food in. He's not even allowed all the time because of the COVID restrictions, right? So she's losing a lot of weight. Like with any of our girls, my biggest concern is going to be whether or not they'll be able to keep it off. I am more, I think, encouraged by Jen's weight loss right now than I am by Amber's. And we can dig into Amber's weight loss a little bit later. But the reason why I think that Jen has a shot is because she is going to actual therapy. I said this before and I'll say it again. Nobody gets to being that heavy, gets to being like 600 pounds without having something else be like a cause, a factor, right? You can't gorge yourself to 600 pounds. You can become as fat as I am. Absolutely, right? You can get to like 150, you can get to 200, you can get to 250 even by just having poor eating habits and not really having a way to deal with like minor emotional problems, right? Like I've told you guys before, I have some stuff, right? You don't get to being almost 600 pounds or even beyond that, or even 400 pounds without dealing with trauma. Because at that point, your weight doesn't just, it's not just that, oh, I'm heavier than normal. It's that I am incredibly uncomfortable in my body and it's painful to stand and walk. Things that people do on a regular basis become incredibly difficult for you. And you don't eat yourself to that point without something else really being the root cause of this. For me, I have an upper threshold for how much I can weigh, because at that point, it doesn't matter how much I want to eat. I can't make myself eat past that, right? Even if I'm very overindulgent, my body's just going to be like, no, we can't fit any more in. You know, I have a certain minimum amount of walking that I have to do in a day. There's a certain amount of calories I'm going to burn in a day. I have an upper threshold, and I think most people are like that. And my upper threshold is by no means healthy, but it's still there. So I just buffed the lighter of the two colors, this one, all through my crease, just to give it a little bit of contrast. And now I'm going to go in with the color that's technically the for the cheeks, the blush color right here. So I'm going to take that, and I'm also going to buff that in. I'm going to take a little bit of a more pointed brush like this. I'm just going to go back in. So I think the unresolved trauma that she has from her past is the reason why she eats the way that she does. And I'm not as familiar with her channel, so I could not guess. I don't know if she's ever really discussed it in the past. I don't know how much clarity we have into that. Not that we need to, and not that we are entitled to that information. I think one of the most disturbing things I found from watching Chantal and whatnot is how much people feel entitled to information that they really are not entitled to. We are only entitled to the information they put up online, on their channels, on their channel related content, if they have a public Facebook. Beyond that, we are not entitled to their information. It is in no way, shape, or form appropriate to go to like her parents' Instagram and pull stuff off, because her parents never consented to be on the internet. Just because their daughter or whatever is doing whatever on the internet does not give us that permission. I'm now going to take this color, the very, very beautiful foily color, and I'm just going to put that all over my lid. I'm going to use my finger. It is incredibly shiny. I don't know if you guys can tell. It is so beautiful. I'm just going to tap that on because I don't want it going full on. This color has the ability to just go full on onto your eyelid, give you like a metallic foil finish. And I have used it like that a couple times before. But if you're going for an everyday look, I would not recommend that because I think it'll be too much. It'll be too intense. I just think that much. Just that much is enough. So the therapy is definitely going to aid her in keeping that weight off, and that's what she needs. Unlike, Amber, who's still relatively young, I don't think that Jen really has the space to gain the weight back and lose the weight and then gain the weight back and lose the weight. I don't really think that is something that she's going to be able to sustain. She is too far age-wise and health-wise in her journey into bad eating that I don't think that she can sustain that. So she really needs to keep that weight off. I really hope that she is putting her utmost in therapy, because I've said before and I'll say it again, no one can do therapy for you. You can assign somebody to an involuntary hold, but that only lasts 72 hours. Actual change, real change has to come from you. And I'm taking once more that lighter color and I'm just buffing it onto my lower lid just to sort of complete the look. That's pretty much all I'm going to do. That's it. Those are my eyes done. Just very simple. It's never going to work unless you actually want to change. But it is looking positive. She does seem to be making some kind of an effort. And given the severity of her health situation, I think at least temporarily the drive to change and do better is there. All that matters is whether or not she has the emotional resilience to follow through and whether or not she's going to sustain that change going forward in her own behavior and her own personality. I am now just lining my lower lid a little bit with black eyeliner. My personal favorite, honestly, of I think maybe all time, is the Revlon Color Stay 2-in-1 Angled Kajal. This stuff is amazing. I love it so much. It is so dark. It goes on so easy to my waterline. And this stays on longer than anything else I've ever tried. And I'm including like the Marc Jacob one before they like ended the entire line, which broke my goddamn heart because I actually did love that pencil a lot. But this stays on better than that. I found it as a dupe. Now for the eyebrows. I'm going to take that same color as before, and with the darker color, I'm going to line the bottom part of my eyebrow to give it some shape, and then I'm going to fill it in, blend it upwards, and then fill it in with the lighter color. So that's kind of what's happening with Jen. I'm just hoping that she's released from the hospital soon and that she continues her therapy afterwards. I was a little bit hesitant about Jean, but other than bringing her food at the hospital, which I think is... it's a classic enabler move, right? Like people who have reached that weight in their life, they generally tend to be accompanied by people who are enabling them. Because once you get to being 500, 400 pounds, you can't really continue to climb higher by yourself because you don't have the ability to go out and work and go out and get groceries and all of those things. And it's become a little bit easier in the post-pandemic era because everywhere delivers groceries and there's a bajillion different apps that can do it for you. But before that point, people like Jen's been heavy for a very long period of time, she doesn't really have that option. Also, if I'm not mistaken, Jen lives in a pretty rural area, and a lot of these apps don't tend to work very well outside of cities. But I don't have a lot of experience with that. If you live in a rural area, I would love to know your experience down below. My experience is a lot with cities. I've only ever lived on the coast, so speaking a little bit based on what I've heard / have absorbed through the internet and not so much personal experience. Next, we move on to Amber. If you guys are aware, Amber has recently stopped uploading her lives, which I am so thankful for. Her lives were getting dreadfully boring. It's not just that, Amber doesn't do very much in her life. That's fair. I told you guys multiple times this before. I'm a relatively boring person. I don't do a lot with my life either, but I don't also vlog about my life, right? Like I haven't even put up my vlog content from my trip because I'm like, it was fun for me. I don't know how much you guys are going to enjoy it because it's not like very exciting. I'm not like doing elaborate chomps or like doing deep sea cave exploring. I just don't know how much of an entertainment factor there is in something like that. But for Amber, who puts up her life on the internet, there should be more. And the entertainment factor has always come from her being a train wreck. That's why I figured all of these women are kind of have that hot mess appeal. And so I figured how to unmess yourself. That's kind of what I'm going to go with for the video. I think that when it comes to Amber, I think she's been pretty stable for a pretty long period of time. Except for some light, like, trolling stuff. I think she's actually not been that much of a hot mess, which I appreciate. That doesn't necessarily mean that she's exactly a good person. I think she still tries to reel in a lot of the audience that she had from being a hot mess. And quite frankly, I don't think that that's the way to go. I don't think that's a good idea because that audience doesn't like her. And I feel that they are going to turn on her, and I don't want that to necessarily happen. I'm going to take that color that I used before in my crease as well, the cheek color, and I'm going to put it onto my cheek. I'm going to put it a little lower than I would traditionally put blush. It's a pretty neutral color. So it's going to act a slight bit like a contour, but not so low as I would put a traditional contour either. It's like a good middle ground. Like I would put contour maybe just a little lower. So I'm going to put this and I'd put blush like right here and just apples on my cheeks. So I'm going to actually pull the blush up a little. And that'll give you a 2-in-1 effect of both contouring your face a little bit, but also giving you that blushy effect. And that's really only doable with a blush that is semi-close to your skin color and is not super pink or super warm. In fact, I think even with this blush, it pulls a little pink for me. If this blush was just one shade more brown, I think it would be perfect, but I can make it work with this. And then last but not least, we're going to go in with the pearl shade that they have here, their cream highlighter. I actually really like it. It reminds me a lot, if you guys have ever used the RMS Living Luminizers, it reminds me a lot of that, except this is maybe a little bit of a softer formula for better and for worse. Easier to get onto your cheeks and easier to stipple out, but if you've got a little bit more hydrated skin, a little bit more oily skin, this is going to slip off your face with a lot more ease as well, because when I get hot, I can get pretty oily, because a lot of my dryness comes from eczema. And so I found that on hotter days, I have a little bit of an issue getting this to stay. So you can probably put a little bit of that eyeshadow on top of this, which I have done before, and it does help it stay. I can pull that off because it is just light enough to serve as kind of like a blushy highlight on my face. But I think anybody lighter than me, you would not be able to wear the one. Anyone darker than me, that would look bomb. But the cheek products might not work too well on you though. So, better and worse. So I think that Amber's like train wreck appeal is going down, but because she still isn't really investing in her channel, improving the editing of her channel, really working on any other aspects of her channel, the overall channel is not really improving. And she's still kind of stagnated right now, especially with Becky gone and Wifey not really appearing on camera. We don't even know if Wifey is really there. Maybe she is, maybe she's not. I don't really care, and honestly, I respect Wifey's decision to not come on camera. I think that Amber's community is incredibly toxic, and I can fully appreciate someone maybe just being there for the relationship. I don't really know what their relationship status is like, and I don't want to assume, though a lot of people have said that she could just be there for the money. I don't know. There are people out there who just will love Amber for Amber, right? I don't think she is like, she's not like a horrible person. She's not like a dictator or something like that, right? She's just kind of like a crappy person on the internet. And trust me, people have and will again in the future love worse. So if there's someone out there who loves her, then great. Because sometimes knowing that someone loves us, especially if you've got self-esteem issues the way I think Amber does as well, I think that it can really help us to see the best in ourselves and be better, you know? That's why I never advocate for the idea of, you know, no, you shouldn't be in a relationship if you can't love yourself, because I think that sometimes just having that external validation, while not a sustainable way to live, can encourage us to build the foundation of ourselves and get that internal validation, which is the way to a sustained life. And she is on her own weight loss journey. She has actually lost some amount of weight, and she's back in the lower 500s, which is fantastic. I'm really glad to see that. And once more, I come back to, is this a sustainable weight loss for her? Because as much as I want to be there and root for her, I have to keep in mind that Amber has lost all of this weight at this point twice on camera, right? Well, once on camera that we've seen, and once before that when she mentioned her famous 89 pounds, right? I'm going to set my face. I'm using Rainforest of the Sea 4-in-1 Setting Mist. I really like this stuff, and this is a lighter makeup look, so I can like put a little bit more of this stuff on, because it does sort of help to meld everything together and can take away the powdery look of the foundation that I can get sometimes, because once more, I have crusty ass face. I'm only doing half pumps, by the way. I didn't just pump like a bajillion sprays of that. It was like halfway depressed every time I did it, so that I would get more control over where I'm spraying. And I'm really glad that she's on this journey, but without doing the other parts of it, this is not going to be sustainable. I'm telling you this as someone who has tried a million times to lose weight and has found so far only one sustainable way of doing it. You have to very slowly reduce your calories. And I mean like 100 to 200 at a time. Because if you are eating, especially out of some sort of emotional place, it can be so incredibly triggering to all of a sudden go from eating 3,000 calories to eating 1,800 calories even. Even though 1,800 calories is a good enough amount of calories for like a sedentary woman to be eating in a day. It can be really, really emotionally difficult to do. And so if Amber is trying to cut her calories down, she's trying to eat better, fantastic. But you have to do it slowly, you have to do it carefully, and you have to work on the emotional problems. Because it's real easy to spend a whole month eating well and then undoing all of that hard work by eating like 6,000 calories in one night. And it's like easier than you would think. If you eat like 6 Krispy Kreme donuts, for example, that is an incredible amount of calories. And Amber can't eat that. She can eat a whole Ben & Jerry's and still eat that. And that's what I mean when I say that you need to work on your emotional self-control. You need to work on your emotional health, on your mental well-being. Nothing will stick if that isn't fixed. All right. The lipstick that I'm wearing is the Bare Minerals Liquid Lipstick in the color Boss Matte. I am no longer using Ofra, if you know, you know. And this is an incredible formula that I found that really replicates that. And they've got some incredible nude colors. I really like this one in particular. It's called Boss, with the S's as being dollar signs. And I think it looks great. It's very, very tonally appropriate with the Morphe 2, which the color scheme that I have is Oh So Nudie. And it works very well. These were actually the two things that I took with me and I wore the most while I was on vacation. I didn't really wear a lot of makeup overall because I was going in and out of salt water. The last thing that you need when you are, in fact, unmessing yourself, your hot mess express self, and getting ready for a day where you have to be a competent adult, is a little perfume. So this is the woody sandalwood, and the top notes are violet leaves and cardamom. And the middle notes are orris, ambrox, cedarwood, and cyperol, and the base notes are musk, sandalwood, and amber. I figured with the word amber in it, whatever. Okay, don't blame me. I'm cheesy like that. I love this smell. I am not always the biggest fan of sandalwood because I think it's a very overpowering scent, but someone who I actually know got this scent and they said it was incredible. And so I got it and I love it. I love it. It is so nice. It is so mild. It's got a little bit of that musky amber woodness happening, and the best way I can describe it to you is that it smells kind of like a crisp fall in the forest, right? So it's got a little bit of that dampness, a little bit of that leafy smell, right when the weather starts changing and it gets a little bit cold. It is so nice. I love it so much, and it's so seasonally appropriate. That's the last part of how to unmess yourself. It would be get yourself a nice perfume and spray a little bit of it on. I highly recommend finding a perfume that is like your signature scent. And they've got such a long list to choose from, Dossier, that I think you're definitely going to find something there that works for yourself. Find a signature scent, wear it all of the time, and anytime anyone smells even the top notes of that perfume, of in any other perfume, if they ever smell those top notes, they're going to think of you. I'm going to spritz a little bit of this on now. And that would be my guide to unmess yourself and what's happening with our favorite hot mess girls on the internet. Right before I go, I just want to talk about Chantal real fast because she is the current reigning queen of the girl world. And there's a lot going on with Chantal. If you guys know, Timbits, his poor cat, Pete's poor cat, just passed away. And Chantal's response to that was, let's just say less than ideal. What I'm going to say in regard to that is this. Chantal does not owe Pete being there. He is not entitled to her time or her consideration. That said, he has extended a lot of empathy and grace her way, and it would have been nice to see her do the same thing back for him. It's not so much that it's owed to her as it is that she owes him, that it's owed to him, sorry. It's that not doing so makes you a bad friend. It doesn't make you a criminal. It doesn't make you a abuser. It doesn't make you any kind of those horrible things. It just makes you a bad friend. And given how few friends Chantal has, it doesn't surprise me that she's not a good friend, because people who are good friends generally tend to have more friends, especially as you get older and people stop being so superficially interested in you. And B, I would cherish the few friends I have if I only had a couple to choose from, because your boyfriend might not be there forever. Your last relationship lasted 7-8 years, but it ended. And if Koki is gone one day and if Pete leaves because of the way that you're treating him, you're going to be left with no one, because your family isn't exactly close to you either. Cherish your friendships. Cultivate your friendships. Anyone can give you D, girl. But friends are forever. All right. That's all I'm going to say on that. My more detailed Chantal React will probably be out sometime this week. Probably also going to be putting one out for my lovely patrons, who I want to thank, as always. And I want to thank Dossier as well for reaching out to me. Thank you guys so much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you guys for letting me work with your company. I think that your products are incredible. And if you guys want to support me, you guys want to support the channel, click that link below. Get some of your holiday shopping done. Avail yourself of the amazing discounts that they're currently offering on their website for Black Friday. And do it early, because you know what? Those scents might run out. Who knows? And as always, I'm Jasmine, the sequel, and I am not relatable. Peace. A special thank you to my patrons: Acrophobe, Ariel M, Christina, Courtney EP, Dainty B, Lori H, Sidra Z, Colleen L, Debbie E, Justa Jude, Kate O, Sonia P, and a special thank you to my $25 patrons D Higgins and Oceana Song.